Likkutei Torah, Parshas Reeh, page Chav Gimel, last line of the first Kalareis base. Okay, before the Alter Rebbe was explaining that you have the inner keys, the outer keys. You need Yiras Shamayim in order to get to the inner keys of Torah when you're calling Hashem. So even though it's only a name, but nevertheless, by calling the name, you get the whole essence of the person. You get the whole essence of Hashem. He said, "V'zeh kisishma b'kel Hashem Elokecha." That's what it says. Kisishma b'kel Hashem Elokecha. It's grammatically should say kisishma b'kel Hashem Elokecha. You listen to the voice. B'kel, not b'kel means in the voice. When you listen in the voice, b'kel v'lo l'kel or l'kel to the voice. Kamesha calls v'yemim shmaya tishma l'kel Hashem Elokecha. Like another pasuk, Taka says, "Kisishma l'koil Hashem Elokecha." While over here does the pasuk say, "Kisishma b'koil Hashem Elokecha," in the voice of Hashem? Because he says, "What is koil? What is the concept of a voice?" What is a voice? Like you said, you want to bring out something that's hidden in the heart, so to speak, or the air before you speak. It's hidden, and now you want to reveal it. Koil, voice, represents listening, not seeing. What?
Can each individual's personal name represent their specific koil?
Yeah. The name of every individual person is their avodah, the prophecy the parents have when they name the child that name. That is their general avodah, yes. Yeah. That's why all people that have the same Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, whatever, Moshe, whatever it is, they all have something in common, even though one could be a tzaddik, one could be a rasha. But nevertheless, the fact that this is their name, this is their lifeline, there's something connected. And that's their avodah, what they need to do. And that's why, by the way, it's interesting. In Chassidus it says, the Gemara says, Ein koinen aves alul l'shleisha. Avis are only three, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. The Shvatim are not called Reuven Avinu, Shimon Avinu, Levi Avinu. It's Avram Avinu, Yitzchak Avinu, Yaakov Avinu. So he said, because, what do you mean? Avinu means we're the children. So every child is connected to the Aved of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. But in the Shvatim, if you came from Shevet Reuven, you had a connection to the level of Reeh, Reuben. If you have Shimon, you're connected to the level of Shmiya, which is understanding. So over there, Taka the 12 Shvatim, because he came from this Shevet, you had a connection to this Aveda. He came to not a different Aveda. So it's not like the obvious, it's everybody's connected to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov.
You also have Avram's Chesed. Yitzchak is Gevur.
We didn't say no.
No, but I'm saying is that there's a connection to that person.
Yeah, no. Okay. Velokil is the level of Shmiya Ba'avon Hamshacha, which is understanding this Gilui. Hainu lebechin is Hamshacha Atzma. To the Hamshacha itself, which is only Bechinis Chitzaini, is the level, external level. Aval Bekel is Pnimius HaKel. In the voice, Bekel means in the voice, not to the voice. Now you have, even in the voice, you have the external. I'm listening to the voice, okay? But it's not... It's external. I'm listening to the voice. But Bika means that the pneumistic level of the curl, mean you're connected to the pneumius of the helam, which the curl is representing. A voice is a revelation of the hidden thing. Right? Let's say, based on the voice of a person, you can tell sometimes if he's in pain, or he's enjoying himself, or if whether it's loud. The Gemara says, Divrei Chachamim benachas nishmoyim. The scholars, they speak softly. You know, everybody knows when two people are fighting, the guy that screams louder is wrong. No, usually that's the rule. I mean, there are exceptions to the rule. But the rule is when two people are fighting, yeah, not physically, verbally, so they're fighting, so the person screaming the louder, why would he screaming louder? Because you know you're wrong, so you want to prove that you're right by screaming louder, you know, whatever. Kisishma, what does it mean? Kisishma, sheteyach shmiya b'chinas pnimius, hamshacha. Machanim shel me'alim the gilui that comes from the helam. Hainu b'chinas Erin Tzav Baruch Hu, the infinite revelation of Hashem. Sheyum shegilu zal nafshe liyas b'chinas bittul. So that's what the Alter Rebbe says. Ki sishma b'kel Hashem Elokecha. It should be a shmiya not only in the chitzainistic, in the external level, it should be even the pneumius level. And that's what it says, Shamad Azal B'Rabbis in the Medrash Rabbah and Parshas Kisave and the Pasuk. Ashri Adam Shemei Ali. There's a Pasuk, Ashri Adam Shemei Ali. Hashem says, fortunate is the one that listens to me. So the Medrash says, Ashri La Adam B'Shash Shmu'usavli. When at the time he is listening to me, skip 4 lines of the parentheses. Meaning what the Medrash says is fortunate is the woman, the man. Fortunate is the man that one second, what did I just skip? Fortunate is the person that at the time, when he's listening to me, meaning he's connected to the pneumius of Hashem. Is but it has to be in an orderly fashion. Like you said, you can't get to the pnimi without the chitzin. You can't get to the inner room without going to the outer room. It has to be first you need the external keys, which is the Yerushalayim. And then like we know in courtyards of a king, right? There's the outer courtyard. Or even in a house, you have the outer courtyard, you have the inner courtyard. Like it says, Megillah Esther, Vatamid B'chatzer Beis HaMelech HaPnimis. And another pasuk says, V'haman B'alachatzer Beis HaMelech HaChitzayna. In the same Megillah Esther, it says, Esther came into Achashverosh, Chatzer HaPnimis, the inner Chatzer, inner courtyard. And by Haman it says he came to the external Chatzer. Chatzer Chisena is the level of Psuke de Zimra. What's the outer courtyard in Avodah? That's Psuke de Zimra between Baruch Shama and Yishtabach. Shema Medaber B'Shavach Gdulas Yetzer HaKol, which speaks in the praise of Hashem. V'Ispashtus El Kol HaNivroim, and the way Hashem manifests and reveals Himself in all creations. Basher also, son of Floyus or Sagadelis, that Hashem did all the wonders and miracles, and He created Halos Hashem in a Shemayim Atos, Sisas a Shemayim. So what's Psukkah de Zimra? Basically, meditating into the greatness of Hashem.
If somebody is late, comes to Shul, goes to Shema, and does Shemona Esrei, he's not Yotze?
He's not Yotze, the Avodah of davening.
He's not.
No. That's why in Halacha, Tefillah B'tzibah means Shemona Esrei dominion. Right? But in Avodah of davening, that's why according to Chassidus and Kabbalah, you don't skip. Halachically, you come to Shul late, you saw Baruch Shama, Ashli, Yishtav, just to catch up to Shemona Esrei. But Chassidim didn't do that, because al pi Kabbalah, there's an order in davening. There's up to Baruch Shama, there's from Baruch Shama to Yishtav. You're going to skip. You're messing up the worlds. Until Baruch Shama is Asiyah. Psukkah de Zimra is Yitzira. Berachas Krishma is Ibriya. And Shemona Esrei is Atzilas. So you're going to go mix... By the way, even according to Halacha, when you skip davening to the Shemona Esrei dominion, you're still supposed to say the things afterwards. Not like we would just skip it goodbye. You have to go back and say what you missed. It's just you're messing the order around the daven Shemona Esrei. But by Chassidim, that according to Chassidus in Kabbalah, that there's an avodah, the avodas hatfilah, like we learn many times. It doesn't say avodas haTorah. It says limud haTorah, esek haTorah, learning Torah, occupation of Torah. It never says avodas hatfilah, avodas haTorah. By Torah it says limud haTorah, esek haTorah, ula'avdei b'chol levavchem. In Shema, yeah? The Gemara, how do we know there's a mitzvah to daven? So the Gemara, it says in Brachas, because it says, Ul'avdei b'chol levavchem, to serve Hashem with all your heart, Eid Aveda Shabalev, Zu Tefillah. So by Tefillah, you have the concept called Aveda. By Torah, you don't have the word Aveda, never. You never find Aveda Satorah. Why? Avoida, ever, we learned many times, comes to the word ma'abed, which means to tan hides, tanning, right? You have a coarse hide, you can't make parchment or leather out of it, so you have to tan the hide, yeah? So what you're basically doing, you're taking something coarse, and you're making something refined out of it, right? And this tanning is a malacha, it's one of the lamitas malachas on Shabbos. So there's an Aveda, you have to work with the course. So what is it in Aveda? There's Aveda, so unlike Torah, you bring your lukus down into your brain. Davening, we learned that Momata Lamaila, you're going from taking something coarse called i.e. body, nefesh, shabamis, yitzhahara, all these coarse things, and you're refining it through davening. So there's a process.
According to our prayer, and skip the chitzoni.
You can't. You can't. It's like, but the Medrash says, you give the guy the inner keys, you don't give him the outer keys. How is he going to get into the inner keys? Inner room. The Rebbe said many times in the last year, the Rebbe said, now we can, instead of doing tshuva tata and then tshuva ilah, you can go straight to tshuva ilah.
Is davening also milchama?
Davening is mincha, shachris, ma'ariv. What?
Milchama.
Oh, I think it's a mincha. No. Yes, davening is asher lakachti miyado ameri becharbi bekashti. Targum says betzloisei ubeusei, which is the level of davening. Because what is the difference between cherev and kashti? He said, I took from the ameri, right, in Parshas Vayishlach. So Shalakachti, no, I'm sorry, Parshas Vayichi. When Yaakov gave Yosef Shechem. So Shalakachti miyado ameri, what I took from the ameri, becharbi bekashti, my sword and arrow, bow. So Chassidus explains, ameri is the same letters as Ramai. Yaakov Avinu is telling Yosef, Davida Shalakachti miyado, how do you take away Kedusha from the Ramai, from the Melech Zokin Uchsil, the lion, the Ilam HaSheker, the Guf and Nefesh Shabamis. So there's an Aved of Charbi, sword, and there's Kashti. What's the difference? When you fight with a sword, you can't be 20 feet away fighting with a sword. Charbi means you're mamish direct combat with the person. You're mamish touching each other. Then you have an arrow, bow and arrow, you stand from the distance, you shoot the arrow. So there's two types of Aveda, as we learned many times. If you want to bring it down to earth, so if anybody plays football, yeah, there's the running game and there's the passing game. So the running game is you mamish, banging into the guy. And passing game, you're throwing it like a bow and arrow. So there's two Avedas in Aved, but that's all about tefillah. But that's the Aved, and you can't skip. You skip, you're going to mess up the map of the worlds.
What does it mean when we say kol Yaakov? We talk about the word, we say kol. You don't say big kol, you say kol. So what are you connecting to with the kol Yaakov? How are you connecting to Hashem?
There's double kol, that's the pneumius. Kol Yaakov, you're connected to the pneumius of Yaakov, the pneumius of Hashem. Okay, so Chatzer Achitzeim Sukkah de Zimmer, which is okay. V'chein inyan Ashira shall kriyas yamsa midway through the second column. V'chein inyan Ashira shall kriyas yamsa v'izgalus anes hanifel b'elam hazeh. So again, it's all about the miracles of kriyas yamsuf. But Chatzer Apnimi is that's kriyas shmau b'chisah. So in other words, even in davening, you have the Chatzer Achitzeino, the outer keys, that's to create Yirah Shamayim. That is the level of Psukkah de Zimra, speaking about how great Hashem, powerful Hashem is, and everybody is in awe of Hashem, the sun, the moon, the mountain, everything, and in that parak of Tillim especially, it speaks, goes inanimate, plant, animal, and human, all the order of everybody praising Hashem. And then, that's all the Chatzer Achitzeini. And then, the Chatzer Apnim is Krishma Berchoisah, And then you have the final level, the king sitting on the throne. So you have the outer chamber, you have the inner chamber, and then you have the king sitting on the throne. That's Shemon Esrei. There's a story, one of the Chassidim, the Alter Rebbe, prepared himself 10 years to go into Yechidus. He worked on himself 10 years before he went into Yechidus with the Alter Rebbe. Not like today, you walk in, hi, I'm here, goodbye. You know, he mamish prepared himself 10 years. He was on the way to traveling to the Alter Rebbe, so he stopped by a chassid, you know, to sleep over, whatever. So the chassid told him a vart. He said, I heard a vart. It's like this. It says by Esther, when they were coming to the beauty pageant, you know, to pick a wife. So it says in the pasuk over there, what did they do in preparation to come to the king? It says, Shisha chadashim b'shemen amor, v'shisha chadashim b'apsamim, 6 days with the myrrh spice, you know, 6 months, with the myrrh spice, and 6 months tamruk anoshim, and then the pasuk says, B'zeh anayra ba'al melech. So by the beauty pageant, Achashverosh, the Mama spent a year perfumanizing themselves. 6 months with this more spice, and 6 months with this spice. See, the Chassid says to the Chassid Alter Rebbe, he says to him, I heard a word like this, that how can a Chassid go to a Rebbe? How could you come into Melech, the Rebbe? How do you come into... You need 6 months of merirus, b'shemen amor, merirus, bitterness, and shisha chadashim samruke anoshim, which is asay teiv, you know, that surmeiran asay teiv avoida, ubezah na'ir ba'al melech. The chassid was so impressed, he stayed a year by that guy in the house to prepare himself, poor wife, not him. The guy stayed another year to prepare himself. He prepared himself 11 years to go into the Rebbe. What?
It was a mistake.
Obviously it wasn't. In those days they didn't mind, by the way. They were giving. They were givers, not takers. So they gave. They didn't care. The whole life was like that.
Did he finally went to the Rebbe that guy?
Yeah, after a year, went to the Rebbe. Another year. After working himself for another 12 months. Like, by us, you walk into Yechidus, hi, I'm here, goodbye, you know, give me a bracha, with dollars went in.
That's not really what happened. Sometimes the Rebbe called you in, you had no idea, you had nothing to do.
That's a different story. That's coming Momaila Lamata.
The Rebbe called you in.
That's Momaila Lamata, but that's not when the person is going on himself to the Rebbe. That's a different story. Okay, that's the level of Tefillah Shemanes, which is ultimate bittul. And from that come Vayesh et HaMelech Shavet HaZohav. The king, when Esther came, right, he stuck out the scepter, right? Otherwise she would be killed. That's the Mila HaZohav. That's the Mila of gold, which is Rishpei Eish Ava, which is the burning sensation of love. Shahayshid Vehim Shech Mebchinas Bias. That the king, I'll explain in a second, he brought from the base Likkutei Apnimis, that it should be the Gili Avazu Krishma V'Kimam V'Afta. Okay. It says in the pasuk over there by Esther, V'Yeshad HaMelchas Shavet HaZov Asher B'Yodeh. What's the level of gold? So you have, here the Alter Rebbe is explaining that gold is the Rish Be'esh Ava. There's kesef and there's zahav, right? There's gold and there's silver. So normally it says silver is whitish, so that's the level of ava, and gold is reddish, not like copper. Copper is also reddish. Zahav is also reddish. Difference is necheshes is a cheap metal, which represents evil because necheshes comes from the word nachash, which is the original sin. So necheshes represents sin. And Zav is gold, but he's explaining, but sometimes it says in Chassidus that gold represents a burning flame fire, like a ava of gevura with fire, it's a fire. You can have a ava betanugim, a calm level of love. When you're with somebody that you love, you're not having a burning love because you're there. If your abstinence makes the heart grow fonder, when you're missing somebody that you love, so then you have a burning tzamalucha nafshi, then you have this thirst and the longing to come to Hashem. So even in Ava itself, you have Ava b'tanugim, and then you have Ava b'kadish b'yesh. That's the level of Zav in Ava. What did you want? So that's all. In other words, like this: you have the Chatzar Chitzena. Then you come. He says, Al Rebbe is saying, you has to be the Seder Vadraga. This whole thing. Yeah, it has to be the outer key. You have to go into the outer Chatzar. Then you have to go into the inner Chatzar. Haman only came to the Chatzar Chitzena. The pasuk says, because Klipa is Chitzenius, external. Esther went into Chatzar Pnimis, Nechach Pnei HaMelech. Right? So Esther went into the Pnimius. So what happened? She had this Aveda, right, of the 6 months and this whole Aveda. And Esther came in, and then it said, then it came to after Esther prepared herself for 3 days, right, fasting and all that. And then she came to the king. So then the king, it was after she did her Aveda, so then it came to Gilui Milmaila. The king is sitting on the chair. That's the Pnimius, ultimate Gilui of the Pnimius. Right? That's the king sitting on the throne. And then the king is giving he's Mamshich. A Sharvit is a Vav. The scepter is a Vav. That's Hamshacha. So the king is giving it to her. That's the Hamshacha Momail of the king into Esther. So after the Hachana of Chatzar Chitzayim and then Chatzar Pnimius, so then you get the Gilui V'yeshen HaMelech Esther.
This approach is for
Chassidim.
any kedusha, right? Any kedusha that you want to approach, whether it's the Tefillah, whether it's the Rebbe,
Any kedusha that you want to approach has to be internalized. Because if not, it's easy come, it's easy go. Correct?
yes.
So anytime you're talking about the level of Kedusha, if you want to internalize Kedusha, it demands Avodah. You can have, we learned many times, you have a lighter, yeah? You go like this, there's a spark. But if there's no fuel, the spark doesn't last, right? So you can have a Gilui Milmaila, you can keep sparking it, but it's not going to last because there's no keli for it. A Gilui Milmaila, even a Gilui Milmaila, right? If there's no keli to it, you can have Vayikra al Meisha, but if there's no Adam Ki Yakrib, if there's no keli, it's the Rusa del Lasata, the awakening from below, it's not going to go anywhere.
But you have to be prepared. Right?
Yeah.
You have to prepare to reach there.
First of all, you have to want to.
To understand.
You have to want to. If you don't want to, it's not going to work. Right? In anything in life, to be successful, you have to want to do it. If you don't want to do it, you won't be successful. Right? That's life statement. Okay, so for number one, you have to have a wanting to it. Now that you have a want, then that creates the vessel to be able to get it. Once you make the vessel, then Hashem gives the Gilui from above.
Simple enough.
It's very simple, by the way. It's easier said than done. But any human being understands. You ever see somebody goes to these water machines, these gallon, you put in money and then water comes out. Yeah? But you're supposed to stick the bottle in there. You know what I'm talking about? The gallon bottle, whatever. So what happens if somebody puts money in the machine and water comes out and you forgot, like a moron, you forgot to put the bottle underneath it. So you're getting the bracha, the water is, or like rain. You don't plant the field and Hashem makes it rain. No? Like the Tzemach Tzedek told Achaz, he asked a bracha and it didn't work. So he came to the Tzemach Tzedek. He said, how come it didn't work? He gave me a bracha. He says, a bracha, like in Moshe, for a farmer, the biggest bracha is rain. But rain is only a bracha if you plant the field. If you don't plant the field and it rains, you're not getting a bracha. You have to make a keli. Right? In life, you need to make a keli. You want to win a lottery, you can get the biggest bracha from the greatest tzaddik 1,000,000 times over. If you don't buy a ticket, you're not going to win. The bottom line, you're not going to win if you don't buy a ticket. Right? Why? Because you need to make, Moshe Rabbeinu himself gave you a bracha. Bottom line is, you don't make a keli, you're not going to get it.